Hey everybody, Brad Blackman here. Today we are going to do a little experiment in time travel. I'm going to travel 20 years back in time to my 20-year-old self. That's right, I'm 40, but I'm going to go tell my 20-year-old self 4 pieces of advice. Are you ready? All right, let's go. Hey Brad, it's you. Me. This is awkward, right? Trying to talk to yourself, not looking in the mirror, but, actually yourself. The closest thing I've come to that is talking to my children. Spoiler alert, you have children now. But I have a couple of pieces of advice for you. Now, I know you're probably thinking, man, who is this guy? He's 40, he's old. And yeah, when you're 20 years old, 40 is old. It's not old. There are 4 pieces of advice I have for you. 20-year-old Brad. First one is you're an introvert, person who recharges by being by himself. I like to get in the studio, turn on some music, and paint, draw, whatever. I'm not the kind of person who enjoys going to a party and being around a lot of people and all right, and I come away from that all energized and man, I got to hang out with a lot of people. But that wears me out. Here's the thing, you're living in a villa with 50 other people right now. That is exhausting for an introvert. You're having the time of your life, but you're also very lonely and depressed, and you don't understand why. Because being around so many people all the time drains you. So here's my advice. Go to downtown Florence, go to that art store, that art supply store right off from the Duomo. It's called Zecchi. Get some art supplies. Then go to a piazza and order a cappuccino or a gelato. So good. Go to a piazza by yourself, people watch. Now I know you've done plenty of people watching with a couple of your friends there, and that's fine, but do it yourself. Write down your observations, write down what you think, what you feel. Breathe, be still, let everybody else flow around you, and breathe. Learn how to be still, be in the moment. You're also a 4 on the Enneagram, which means you go by your feelings a lot. You go by your gut. And your gut is pretty trustworthy. It's very trustworthy. Be sure that you don't identify solely with your feelings. Get beyond that. Give yourself room to breathe. So that's the first thing I want to talk to you. Understand what it means to be an introvert. The second thing I want to talk to you about is when you get back home this summer, what you really need to focus on is learning about marketing. There is a writer you need to check out. His name is Seth Godin. I don't know if he has written any books yet by spring 1999 or if his blog is online yet. Definitely check him out. Check out other people like him. They write about marketing and how business is changing because of the whole digital thing. Blogs change everything. Social media will change everything. I don't think the term blog is widely used yet in 1999. Basically what a blog is a website that is easily updated. Instead of creating HTML pages, gathering images, and then uploading it, and then creating a new link over here in the menu to learn how blogs work. And I'll come back to blogs here in just a minute. So that first thing was understand what it means to be an introvert and understand that you're not crazy, you're not losing your mind, and then learn marketing. Find out who people like Seth Godin are and read what they write. The third thing I want to talk to you about is really important. Look, I know you're 20 years old. It's 1999, so the web is still pretty young. The web is about 5 or 6 years old now. You've already figured out how to get around the firewall at school and find porn. You've already figured out how to do stuff like that. Stop doing that now before it turns into something worse. It's very easy for that to escalate and take root in your life. Stop that now before it messes up dating, before it messes up marriage, because it will. It's very pervasive. Porn is a very pervasive and destructive thing. Also, a term you will hear in the future is human trafficking, and a lot of porn comes from people who are basically slaves and trafficked into doing that kind of thing. So if you're looking at porn, you're basically supporting modern day slavery. That's not something you stand for. And to that end, get help for that. Get some kind of therapy for that now. That's something I wish I had, sooner. I wish I had taken care of this problem sooner. Get a therapist. I talked about being an introvert. The problem with our personality type is you tend to blow everything out of proportion and you get depressed real fast. When you have this much imagination, you imagine the worst. Think, oh, well, this didn't go well. Well, I must be a terrible person. You're not. This girl I asked out rejected me, so that means I'm a total reject and a failure of a person. No, it doesn't. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. And find help for that. Now, there's not the stigma for therapy that there was 20, 25 years ago. So to recap, number one, it's okay to be an introvert. Figure out how to recharge. Find a healthy way to recharge. Number two, learn marketing. Find out who people like Seth Godin are and read about all that kind of stuff. Number three, get therapy for the porn, for your emotions, for your anger. Get help for that now instead of later, because all that stuff will eat you alive later on. So number four, I talked about starting a blog, start some kind of a website. Blog technology will come out. Well, blog technology will be more readily available in a few years. Stuff like WordPress comes out. Go ahead and learn that as soon as you can and use it to talk about what you know. As a student, you can say, it's easy to say, I don't know much. I'm still learning. Talk about what you're learning about. Say, I am a graphic design student. I am an art student. Here's what I'm learning. Here's what I'm creating. And here's the kicker. When you have a blog and an email list is exactly what it sounds like, and it will prove to be your greatest asset, because when you know people, you will be able to share, when you're able to share your message with a lot of people, eventually, not right away, but eventually you can turn that into an audience that will buy something from you, whether it's your services, your design services, painting commissions, coaching on how to do stuff. I teach people how to do graphic design software, how to do page layout and retouch photos and things like that. I teach people how I paint. Put your knowledge out there, people will come to you for more. And here's the real kicker. Do it daily. Put something online daily, whether it's on your website or what we now call social media, but always make it come back to your website, and collect email addresses. You can start right now by going to 10 friends to say, I need your email address, because I am going to start emailing once a week about what I'm learning about art, what I'm learning about design, what I'm learning about marketing. Would you be interested in that? You know, it's 1999. Email lists are pretty new, and people will probably say, yeah, sure, I would like that, and it will snowball. Start with 10 friends, see how quickly you can get it up to 100. Just ask people in person, or just email a friend and say, hey, I'm starting this. Would you like to hear what I have to say about art and design? I will send out an email, a short email once a week, and I'll send it out every Thursday or whatever. Try to get that list to 100 people as quickly as you can. After a while, after doing that for a few years, people will understand that you're an authority in that area, and they'll come to you to help them solve their problems. For money, on your blog and in your newsletter, be real, be vulnerable, not so vulnerable that you're whiny. Say, if you had a bad day, say, I had a bad day, but here's what I learned. Try to put a positive spin on it, and connect the dots for people. I mean, yes, people are smart enough to connect the dots on their own, but they want to see how you connect it. And if they agree, they will write back and say, yes, or they'll send it to a friend. They'll say, hey, this guy gets it. So be real, be authentic. It's easy on the internet to pretend that you're somebody that you're not. That only takes you so far. So be yourself. Like Oscar Wilde said, be yourself, because everybody else is already taken. And finally, one piece of advice on making art. Make something every day. Design something every day. Riff on popular culture. What are the popular movies right now? What's popular on TV right now? What's popular in music? Find a way to riff on that, or completely ignore all of that. I was struck by the beauty of this particular scene in the movie, and I wanted to do this. Paint this kind of a thing, or here are some ads that I really like. Here's why these ads work, because they use color this way, the headline is done like this, the copy is clever, the photography captures a certain mood. And to recap, understand who you are. Me, I'm an introvert. I have to know how my energy works. What gives me energy, what drains me. Everybody should understand that. Have enough self-awareness, self-knowledge to know what builds you up and what tears you down. Number two, learn how to market yourself. Find people in your industry who know a lot and learn everything you can. Find who they learned stuff from. Find other people like them and learn. Go on the internet, go to the bookstore, go to the library, and suck in as much knowledge as you can. Third, get therapy. Nobody comes through life not being messed up in some way. For me, it was falling into porn and loneliness, which creates a bad cycle. You get lonely, so you look at porn, which makes you more lonely, so you look at porn. So I was just doing this for about 15 years. Don't fall into that cycle. Then number 4, make something every day and share it. Share it with the world and be real, be honest, be vulnerable. So 20-year-old Brad, I really hope you take that advice. I know you probably won't. I know you probably would not. If I had showed up and talked to 20-year-old Brad, he would probably be like, you're creeping me out. But that is what I would say to myself. Now, what would you say to 20-year-old you? If you're 20 years old now, what do you think 30-year-olds you would say to you now, or 40-year-old or 50-year-old? If I could talk to myself from 10 years from now or 20 years from now, what would future me say? What decisions am I making? What habits do I have now that I want to improve? So it's an interesting exercise. Let me know what you think about that. All right, take care. Ciao.